All right, everybody, we're here in the beautiful backyard of Kent Driscoll, who absolutely showed me the time of my life on Percy Priest on our very first Fish, Eat, Live series for BnM poles and crappie magnets, and that's what we used today. That's the baits we used. We used slip bobbers, and we had a phenomenal day catching fish. And I can't thank you for the incredible hospitality that you and your wife and your daughter have shown me, and your dog.
Yeah.
What's your dog's name?
That's Bella.
Bella.
Yeah.
She's got a lot of personality, but beautiful home, an incredible boat, and I see why you are who you are, because you are amazing. And where does that come from? You know, I mean, how did you get here? What fuels you to be so, you know, awesome?
You know, Kirby, that's a great question. You know, I've always lived a fish, eat, live lifestyle.
Yeah.
Okay. I started off when I was a kid, really young, with my dad and my grandparents in the outdoors, and we were hunting and we were fishing, and you know, they taught me from the time I was like 6 years old and up how to hunt and how to fish. And the fishing part came from my grandmother, who I called Mama.
Mama.
And when I was a kid, I would go up there and spend summers with her. And you know, I would stay for 2 or 3 months at a time.
Nice.
And we fished every day. We fished every day, Monday through Friday. We took Saturday off, went to church on Sundays. Okay.
Very good.
And you know, we fished all different kinds of lakes and ponds and rivers and streams. It was always an adventure. We fished for bass, crappie, brim. You know, we fished for everything. But my passion was crappie fishing, and I just got exposed to it at a really young age, and it stayed with me. And my grandparents, kind of a funny story here, they had a huge garden, and we would go catch these fish. We'd come back, we'd clean these fish, and I would bury the fish heads in this garden. And my grandfather's garden was like 50 yards long and like 30 yards wide, and I'd start on one row, and I'd bury these fish heads, and I had a stake that I'd stick in the ground, had a bandana, and it was 3 feet long.
For fertilizer, right?
For fertilizer,
yeah, okay.
right.
I've
we were
heard
fertilizing
that.
the garden.
It's an Indian.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
an Indian
my
trick.
grandfather was part Indian.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So anyways, but you know, I worked in that garden, and we ate everything. My grandmother canned everything. She bartered with a lot of people. It was just a really neat lifestyle as a kid, and it's just stayed with me.
Right.
And we ate these fish. I mean, we fried fish, we baked fish. I mean, we just grew up, you know, eating what we caught, or even, you know, what we killed. My grandfather was a big quail hunter.
Yeah.
Kind of a lost art these days.
That's true.
Right. And anyways, I just came up that way, and you know, went to college and hunted and fished at college. I got out of college, got a really great job, and I started bass fishing, and that was a lot of fun. And I moved to Jackson, Mississippi in like 1994.
How old were you?
And I was in my like mid to late 20s.
Okay.
And I met a neighbor that fished at the Magnolia Crappie Club.
Okay.
And he was constantly crappie fishing out on the reservoir. And I finally went with him one day, and we spider rigged with multiple poles. And we had a fantastic time. And that's kind of where I converted from bass to crappie.
Yeah.
And then, you know, I started crappie fishing with friends, and then I get into a local crappie club, and then I'm like, hey man, I want to try these crappie tournaments. So like in 1999, I started fishing crappie tournaments.
And I've seen some of your success on your wall there. That's
yeah, and you know, we've had a really good run,
right.
And you know, and still doing it till this day. And then I got involved with BnM. I met Jack Wells, and I met Jack about 15 years ago, and you know, I started off as one of his pro staff guys, and then he just came to me one day and said, hey Kent, he says, I want to start a formal pro staff. You've got a great business mind, you've got a business background,
right.
Can you put this together? You know, can you go out and find the guys that are good people that will represent our company in a positive manner? And he already had guys in place. I mean, before me, there was guys like Rick Solomon, Mike Walters, and Capson Coleman, and you know, there were some other guys before me, before my time. But I started as the official pro staff manager.
So now, let me interrupt. I just have a question. How many do you manage now? How many are on the pro staff?
Just on the crappie side, and we've got a catfish pro staff too, just on the crappie side, we've got around 70 guys.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a full-time job in itself, managing 70 salty fishermen.
Yeah, well, you know, it's a part-time thing for me.
Yeah.
You know, I've got a big boy job, and I'm vice president of sales for Athletes Distributing Company. We're a wine and liquor distributor. And that's my big boy job. I've always been in the grocery industry. I worked for Anheuser-Busch. I worked for Bud for several years. Worked for Conagra for several years. So that's the big boy job. But the B&M thing just kind of, you know, it started out of a friendship with Jack.
Right.
And then since then, we've just continued to develop every year. We add more people. We add more product. We add product and develop product that our pro staff use.
Right.
You know, some of our product has our pro staff members' names on it because they endorse them, and it was kind of their idea, and we built them to their spec. And that's the reason we've been so successful as a company, is we have built and developed products that people want and that fishermen use, and they're technique-specific type stuff.
And that is extremely affordable comparatively.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, it's great stuff.
And you know, in the most recent years, we've gotten into catfish. We have developed a catfish pro staff.
Right.
Jason McDuffie is running the catfish pro staff, and he has single-handedly, along with his pro staff, developed multiple poles in the catfish line.
Yeah.
Very, very successful. Very successful. We've recently got into a little bit of saltwater. Okay.
Really?
Sam Heaton. We all know the Sam Heaton Super Sensitive series.
It's great.
Sam is probably one of, and no disrespect here, Sam, but he's one of the oldest crappie guys out there.
Yeah.
And we have successfully promoted and managed and marketed his line of jig poles for years and years. Sam lives down in Florida. He's retired from Johnson Outdoors. Okay. And he has gotten back into full-time saltwater guiding.
Wow.
So we came up with kind of a light-duty saltwater series called the Sam Sea Salt. Huh. So, you know, our ideas come from our pro staff. A lot of them come from our pro staff.
Wow.
And we've had just a ton of success by doing that. And, you know, our sales have grown every year, pretty much double digits for the past 10 or 15 years.
Oh, what an accomplishment.
And, yeah, and it's just, you know, it boils down to one thing and one thing only, and it is surrounding yourself with good people. That is the key. Absolutely the key.
So I remember meeting everybody at ICAST and having that same feeling that it's just kind of almost like a family, wouldn't you say? I mean, everybody knows everybody, they respect everybody,
right?
They appreciate one another, and they listen and interact with one another.
Absolutely.
In the goal of promoting crappie fishing.
Well, let me tell you, we, number one, and most importantly, we are a God-fearing Christian company that is focused on family.
Well, that's good. That's good, and it's so good to hear in this day and age hear a company say that.
Right, right, and you know, I'm proud to say that, and I will tell you, all of our guys, when you talk to them, they're going to tell you that BnM is it's a family company.
I believe.
And we treat everybody as they are family.
When I met everybody in ICAST, they were so friendly. I'm like, wow, these guys actually are nice, and they're not, you know, they're my idols, and I'm talking to them just like I'm talking to you.
Well,
and that's the humbleness of a Christian.
In my opinion, crappie fishing is a family sport, right?
Yeah.
I mean, think about it.
Absolutely.
It's something you can do with your grandparents, your parents,
your kids,
oh yeah, your nieces, your nephews, and you can share it. You can share the fishing experience. You can bring the fish back home and enjoy eating them.
Right.
And you know, you don't really see that in the other, you know, fishing circuits as much.
Truly.
And I think it brings us together when we all sit down at the table. You know, we bless the food. Yeah. And then we have a great meal together.
And I think it tastes a little bit better when you actually put in the elbow grease, right?
Hey, just like tonight, man.
Dude.
we are eating these fish as fresh as they can be right out of Percy Priest Crappie.
And we made short work of those crappie.
Did we?
How many did we have for the day?
We cleaned 46.
46 crappie on an incredible, perfect day in the beginning, and then a wild rodeo of Surfing USA on the end there. But
yeah, the lake got rough there towards the end.
Yeah, it was entertaining, that's for certain.
Yeah, I mean, how many boats do we have come within 50 yards of us pulling an inner tube or jet skiing or, you know, or wakeboarding?
Yeah.
But you know what, those folks, they're out there having a good time.
Oh, yeah.
We have to share the lake. You know, we got to respect each other while we're out there. And, you know, we just ride the waves out and laugh. I mean, how many times are we just cracking up?
Oh, I could have hit all of them.
Here he comes again, the guy in the yellow tube.
I could have hit all of them with the baseball, but everyone that drive by was like,
hey,
how you doing? So what a good environment, you know, here in Nashville.
Well, it's funny because, and we talked about this while we were fishing, it's a great fishery. I mean, it's 15 minutes outside of town here.
That's crazy.
And it's a huge recreational lake, but the crappie fishing is really good.
Oh my gosh.
Not a lot of giant crappie in this lake. We caught a couple 13 and 14s. We caught one 15-inch one. Yeah. You know, a really nice one you caught today. I think he weighed like 1.63 on the scale. We weighed him. But there's just a lot of fish in this lake. Yeah. And in the summertime, despite the heat, the boat traffic, you know,
I gotta tell
the
you,
waves, despite all that, we still had a great day.
At the end of the day, I was thinking I might be having a heat stroke here because it's kind of humid. It's kind of humid down here.
And I'm kind of and it's funny because you get in. I mean, we were in such a fishing groove. I mean, we were catching them.
Yes.
You forget to drink water and stay hydrated.
That's true.
You know.
That's true.
I had to make myself take a break, drink a water.
Right.
Spray down twice. I sprayed down twice a day with sunscreen. You know, just trying to make sure I didn't get burned up.
So I think that the fishing that we caught on camera is going to be a good representation of a crappie fishing destination point. I hope you guys come to Nashville.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I hope you call Kent Driscoll and find out where they're biting. And there's a lot of good guides here on the lake as well.
Yeah, there is. There's a couple of guys I know. Just off the top of my head, Mark Travis. Okay. He's a local crappie guide here. Brian Carper, he's a local crappie guide. He also does bass and I think some hybrid fishing too. And hey, it doesn't hurt if you're new to the area. It doesn't hurt to hire a guide and come down and learn the lake, okay? Become familiar with it, and then strike out on your own.
Right.
But also, if you're an avid crappie fisherman, and you just want to come down, I mean, to be honest with you, it's all about fishing brush piles.
Yeah.
And it's. Most of these brush piles in this lake are man-made. We put them out. We got to get a permit to do it, but we work pretty hard at it. And I tell you, when you get on a hot spot, you can make hay quick. I mean, there was,
and they're not hard to find because you were on your way several times today to a brush pile where you were going. And you're like, whoa, hold the phone, and every brush pile we saw actually had fish on it. Yeah,
and there was a time or two where I actually was going from one brush pile to the next, and I saw the fish on the live scope.
Yeah.
And I stopped the boat and we caught them.
That's true.
Especially, and most of the time I only do that when I see a bigger one.
Yeah.
And that's pretty neat too. So, but I tell you, the crappie fishing here is great. It's a great bass lake.
Is it?
Oh, it absolutely. It's got smallmouth and largemouth in it.
Yeah.
It's great hybrid fishing. There's big hybrids in this lake, and there's big stripers in this lake too.
Wow!
And then you mix in all the catfish, and I tell you, we talked about this too. One of the hidden gems of this lake is the brim.
The
brim fishing.
Bluegill. Okay.
Yeah, the bluegills.
We caught a few of them.
It is full of them.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, around these full moons in the summertime, they get on these brush piles.
Yeah.
The week before and the week of the full moon, they'll get on the brush hot and heavy. They actually run the crappie off sometimes.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they'll get on the brush piles, and mainly they get on the brush piles that are close to the bank.
Not a bad problem to have.
No.
I like eating bluegill too.
Well, and again, it's another sport fish to catch, and people just a lot of people enjoy fishing for them, but you don't see as many people, as many. Lots of crappie fishermen out here. You get a lot more in the spring, obviously, in the fall. But the summer fishermen, we didn't see that many crappie fishing today.
That's true.
We did.
We saw some people pulling cranks.
We did. We saw some people pulling crankbaits, and they're successful.
And that marina.
And a lot of those guys are fishing for hybrids and crappie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that marina.
Four Corners.
Oh, Four Corners Marina.
How about that?
That is a circus.
Yeah, it was cool.
it was really cool.
Well, it's funny because when we pulled in there, it was midday, right at lunch.
Yeah.
We were done fishing. We were hot. We were ready for our cheeseburger.
Yeah.
And that's when the flood of recreational people show up.
When we were leaving,
they're a big boat rental place.
Yeah.
So they're renting out all those pontoons. They have like 20 pontoons, that they rent, and they rent ski boats too. And that's just part of of this lake.
Right.
And I tell you, if we saw one pontoon and one wake boat today, we saw 100. And yachts, how about those big yachts that were cruising by?
I've never seen 3-tiered yachts before.
Right.
So now I know we're getting ready to eat some of these crappie. I got to ask you, does your family like to eat the crappie? Can you talk a little bit about them?
Oh, absolutely. So, first of all, just blessed to have the family I have.
Yeah.
And my wife and I, we've been married 26 years.
Wow, congratulations.
We've got a daughter that's 16 years old.
Uh-huh.
Her name's Mary Kent. We call her MK. Mary Kent, yeah,
Yeah.
MK. And man, I'm proud of both of them. My wife, number one, she's a saint for putting up with my fishing and hunting addiction.
Yeah.
Always has. But we've made it part of our lifestyle, and we do enjoy eating fish.
Nice.
And we like to share it with friends. We got a special guest coming tonight.
Yes,
which
we
will be
do.
really cool.
Yeah.
And so that'll be fun. And my daughter's here. I think her little boyfriend's here.
Yeah.
And so we're going to do some fish tacos.
And the hospitality of your wife last night. I mean, we just laughed and giggled and told stories.
Yeah.
It's like it's like a cousin, you know, at like Thanksgiving. You haven't seen him in a long time.
Yeah, God bless her. Today, or this past week was the first week of school. Actually, school started on Friday, so leading up to that, because of COVID and everything that's going on,
right?
The teachers and the administrators are having to jump through hoops.
Yeah.
And you know, to get these kids ready to go back to school. And anyway, she's had a long week, and I was glad she.
See, they make you feel like part of the family. You see what I mean? The dog.
Notice the dog sits on his lap and not mine. And anyways, but that's Bella. She's 11 years old.
Yeah.
And, believe it or not, she's still full of energy. But
she is.
Anyways, we man, we just. You know, we enjoy eating fish. Yeah. Love to fry them. We're going to beer batter these fish tonight.
Okay.
I like to traditional fry them too. We'll bake them in the oven, you know, from time to time. And you know, there's to me, there's nothing better than fresh fish. And man, you know, it's so much fun catching them. And then the work is cleaning them, obviously.
Oh.
But the reward is getting to eat them.
Absolutely.
And you know, I think that really kind of pulls, you know, what we're trying to do together with this DVD series.
Yeah.
This BnM DVD series. It's called Fish, Eat, Live.
Yeah.
And you know, it's a lifestyle.
Yeah.
And you know, as you see Kirby do these shows, this is the very first show. As you see him do these shows, you're going to meet the BnM pros and the crappie magnet pros.
Right.
You know, we've got a partnership together that we're doing this together. And you're going to meet all these pros, and you're going to go to their different lakes and different homes. You're headed up to Reelfoot next. And so you got a show tomorrow here with Dude Maddox and Brian Oldham. Yeah. They are local sticks, and I'm talking about sticks.
Yeah.
Dude has been fishing this lake. He's got more brush piles than anybody ever. He fishes every day of the week, during the week, doesn't fish on weekends. But you are in for a really big treat tomorrow fishing with Dude. And then off to Reelfoot.
Yeah.
I've got you set up with Billy Blakely, head guide at Reelfoot,
and
at Blue Bank Resort. What a fantastic place. Wait till you get to Blue Bank Resort.
I'm excited. Okay. I saw pictures.
So you're going with Billy one day. Jeff Riddle, the ACT national champion from last year.
Okay.
And then, man, Ronnie Caps. That's your week.
Yeah.
And anyways, let's hope the weather hangs on and you know, we don't get any bad weather or anything. And man, I just hope your travels this week are good and safe, and you have as good a time as you've had here. You know, you're always welcome here in Lawrenceville, Tennessee.
Yeah,
and,
well, I appreciate that, man.
You know, anytime you want to come back, and we need, to be honest with you, we need to do a fall or spring show.
Okay.
You know, where the fish are in a little bit better shape.
Yeah.
And are really, really aggressive.
Okay.
And actually, the winter fishing here is good too.
Nice.
So, man, anytime you want to come back to Nashville / Nolensville and fish, you know, Percy Priest, you're always welcome here, man.
Well, I travel a little bit with my big boy job, so I might absolutely take you up on that. I can't thank you enough.
Yeah, man.
I appreciate you guys for watching. We want you to subscribe to the BnM channel so that you know when the next Fish, Eat, Live series is coming out. We're going to try to do these pretty regularly. So,
yeah, absolutely.
I know that, you know, when winter comes along and sometimes when it gets iced over, people just, you know, feverishly, you know, binge watch fishing shows.
Absolutely.
So we're trying to provide one for you guys that have the crappie addiction, kind of like Kent and I. So thanks again. We're going to go cook some fish. We're going to have some recipes. You can check out the recipe section at the BnM YouTube channel as well. We're doing fish tacos tonight, and boy, I have worked up an appetite cleaning and catching and just trying to hang with you, man. I'm very impressed and honored to be here. So, beautiful home as well. So thank you guys. Have a great night.
See you guys.
See ya.